Good morning, I'm Tim LaCrasse. Last week, the Cowboys took control of the NFC East with a 31-20 win over the New York Giants. Will the Giants be able to bounce back with a victory over the 6-3 Detroit Lions this week?
And I'm Pat McGuire. Your Lacey Lions started their playoff push off right with a win over Lacey over the weekend. The Lions are now deep into the playoffs, heading into the semifinals. We'll preview what's ahead and how far the Lions can continue this run in the Lions Report.
Once again, good morning. You're watching This Week in Football. As always, I'm Tim LaCrasse, and this is Pat McGuire. Last week in the NFL, the Rams captured their first victory of the season with an upset win over the Saints. The Steelers came from behind to beat the Cleveland Browns, and both the Cowboys and Packers took control of their respective divisions with wins over division rivals. However, here in Lacey, Pat, the talk of the town was obviously the Lacey Lions and their historical win over the Lacey Crusaders last Saturday.
Historical it was, Tim. You're absolutely right. That was the first time in Lacey history that the Lions beat the Crusaders at Lacey High School, and what a win it was. The Lions really came out and played very, very well. They've really started to play better as the season went along. That was possibly their best game. The defense played really well, limiting Lacey to their looks, didn't really open up the passing game much for Lacey, prevented them from doing a lot on offense, and the Lions offense really exploded. All the weapons were out. Warren Smith had a tremendous game. Rick Mears had over 100 yards and a touchdown. He played really well. Everyone really came out. The Lions really stepped it up in the playoffs, and I'm serious. They're a serious threat now to make it back to the state final and possibly win again. A great overall game for the Lions. Both sides of the ball played really well. Special teams played really well. The Lions really got the playoffs started off right, and it's going to be exciting coming into this weekend with another home game for the Lions as they try to make a push into the finals.
Sure, the Lions did get lucky. They played really well, but they did get lucky. Third quarter, Lacey's trapped deep in their own zone. The Lions give up a big run, 30 yards. It would have been a first down. Get called back for a hold. The next play, the Lacey passes deep, caught it at midfield, called back for a hold. And they also gave up a big 80-yard run down the right sideline for a touchdown. So the big play is obviously still a factor, just not as big as a factor as it normally was.
Oh, absolutely. I think that a little luck is involved when you're in the playoffs. You know, the runs getting called back, that was a good part for the Lions. Maybe because of the holding and because of all that, did he break off the run. But it worked out well for the Lions. They got a little luck. They played well when they had to. They scored when they had to. They really came out and played an excellent second half. The second half was really a difference maker for the Lions. That's when they really showed up and decided that it was time to win, and did a great job to come out and get the victory.
And they had the big play of their own. Warren Smith, a 12-yard pass to the corner of the end zone. Ron Stevenson makes the over-the-shoulder catch, and he just gets his feet in bounds.
Oh, it was a great catch by Ron Stevenson. That was his first touchdown of the season. A very athletic catch, very good move. Well, I don't think Lacey was really expecting that play. Didn't expect Ron Stevenson to go out there with the receivers that Lacey has. So it was a good play, a good time to call that play. I thought the play calling was good there. The pass was a beautiful pass done by Warren Smith, and it worked out well for the Lions. They got a touchdown at a crucial point in the game.
Again, same scenario this weekend. They host the number 3 seed Winslow. A win, and they're in the finals for the 3rd straight year. A loss, and they go home. They want Haddonfield to lose on Friday night. If they win, then they would be home. What are the Lions going to have to do this Saturday to beat Winslow?
I think the excitement is riding high. The Lions really want to be the first time ever that the team would go to 3 state finals in 3 consecutive years. It's a huge deal for the Lions. This team is ready. They've been playing hard all season. As I said before, they've been getting better game to game. After those 2 losses, this team really bounced back and decided that it was time to play. And they've come out and played very well since. I like the way the Lions are playing going into this game against Winslow. Winslow's a very good team. It's going to be a great game for the Lions. They're going to have to shut Winslow down defensively, and their offense is going to have to really rely on the passing game to allow the running game to open up. But it should be a win for the Lions. I'd like to see them again in the state finals, and I'm confident they will be, but they need to come out and play hard against a tough Winslow team.
So it's sure to be a tremendous game this Saturday against Winslow. Dan Villanova and I will have the call on WLTS TV 21. Right now, we're going to take a quick break here on This Week in Football. When we come back, Pat and I will discuss the big games of Week 11 in the NFL.
Player was Rocket Man.
Oh yeah? Yeah. Only bounce in the world amounts to love it for a wizard like me. Every bounce of the ball makes the whole world fall. In love with a wizard, in love with a wizard, in love
Harlem Wizards coming to town this Friday, November 16th, 7 o'clock to bounce out the stigma for epilepsy. Welcome back to This Week in Football. Our first game is an important NFC matchup between the 6-3 New York Giants and the 6-3 Detroit Lions, Pat. How bad does the loss last week affect the Giants' momentum mentally?
Well, I mean, they can't let it get to them, Tim. The Lions played a good game. They came out, played a good first half, really were in it really towards the end of that second half. Halftime they were going in, it was still a good game. Second half wasn't so good for the Lions. They didn't really come out and play well. That's what really cost them the game, allowing Tony Romo to really take off and have a great game offensively. But the Lions did play decently well. Things were pretty good for the Lions. I liked the look that they gave. They played with a little bit of confidence in that first half. The defense was able to play well, and I think they should come out this week and definitely beat the Lions. Their mentality this week definitely has to be still riding high. They still went on that 6-game win streak. There's only one loss. They're still 6-3, still a chance in the division. So it's not all over for the Lions. They need to prove now they can bounce back, get over this Cowboy loss, come out and get another win over a solid team. The Lions are a solid team, but we've also seen them play very bad and lose against very bad teams. We saw them lose very bad against the Eagles a couple weeks ago. So I like the Lions' look here. They should be able to come back, bounce back against the Lions, and get the win. I think Eli has shown a little bit more confidence. He's really starting to play very well, limiting his mistakes, and really come out and playing well. So the Lions should come and beat the Lions this week, and I'm very confident they will push their record to 7-3 and still be in contention for that NFC East title.
I really can't see that. I don't see the confidence that you're seeing in Eli Manning. He's just, you look at him on a sideline, and his head is dropped. He is not really performing to his ability. But besides Eli, what are the Giants' issues? They just not really playing. They didn't play that great of football.
I think they should. I think it was really the Cowboys in that game. I think the Cowboys really showed them and the Packers are the class of the NFC. I think the Giants really showed they're that second-tier team. Yeah, they're probably going to be in the playoffs. Yeah, they might win a game in the playoffs, but they're definitely not a Super Bowl team. Probably not even an NFC Championship team. I think that's just the way they are. The players they have, the team they have, is not good enough to get them that far. I think they showed they're going to have a good record, going to have a decent team, definitely going to be in the playoffs. But are they a Super Bowl team? Definitely not. They're not there yet. Maybe still working on getting there.
Star Ledger headline says Coughlin blames game on rookie mistakes. Was 3 delay games at home rookie mistakes? I didn't see any rookie mistakes. I only saw Eli Manning mistakes.
I think that's absolutely unacceptable. You can't have delay a game. You know when the play clock is. You know how things are going to go. Eli Manning has been in this situation before. He's played plenty of games in the NFL now, and it's unacceptable to have 3 delay game penalties, especially in a crucial game like that where it was sort of tight. The Lions were in it, or the Giants were in it most of the game. Things were looking good for the Giants, and that really just cost them. It really just kept pushing them back and pushing them back, and that's unacceptable for the Giants. They can't continue that if they want to be a decent team.
You can understand procedure penalties if you're away, but in your home building, you can't have any procedure penalties. Now, what's Tom Coughlin's future? I mean, he's coming into this game a 6-2 team. He's really looking for an extension. Now the team blows it in the second half of the Cowboy game. Is he going to be the Giant coach next year?
I think he is. I think because the Giants are going to have a winning record. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to do well. Not necessarily in the playoffs, but for the rest of the season, they're going to have a winning record. And it's tough to fire a coach after a winning record. Yes, Tom Coughlin is on the hot seat because the Giants haven't performed in the last couple of years. They definitely haven't played well in the playoffs. And a lot of the fans are looking for something new, maybe to get him out, bring in a new voice, maybe move forward. But right now, Tom Coughlin's definitely doing a good job. The talks have really quieted. They were pretty loud at the beginning of the season, especially when the Giants started 0-2. But now they have a winning record, and I think they'll finish with a pretty good record. Tom Coughlin should be good for about one more season.
10-6. Detroit Lions, John Kitna called it in the offseason. Can they do it?
I think it's absolutely possible. Definitely. I think the Lions are a good team. They have the confidence. Kitna's playing with confidence. He throws for a lot of yards. They got the weapons on offense. Kevin Jones is a good running back. They have plenty of receivers, all those first-round draft picks. And their defense has played well this seation, so I think 10-6 is very possible.
They have a tough schedule. They still have Green Bay another time. They have the Giants. They have the Cowboys. The Vikings are still tough. They're going to have to win a majority of those games to really
no doubt.
reach the 10-6 plateau.
No doubt, Tim. I think it's possible. Will they get there? Maybe not, but it's definitely possible. The Lions are a pretty good team. Definitely going to be a playoff team. Definitely can make some noise in the playoffs. So we'll see how things go. This Giant game will be a very good teller whether they're as good as the Giants, better than the Giants, or going to be one of those top teams in the NFC. It's a very good game for both teams. Both teams really need to come out and get a win. But I think 10-6 is definitely a possibility for the Lions. Tim, the next game is a battle for pride between the winless Miami Dolphins and the 4-5 Philadelphia Eagles. Tim, if the Eagles are going to get it going, can they still make a playoff push?
Well, I definitely think that they can make a playoff push. I don't think they're going to, but they have the resources to do it. Brian Westbrook is obviously still providing the Eagles with a spark to get them the win. He scored 3 touchdowns last week against the Redskins, where the Eagles came from behind to beat the Redskins. Donovan McNabb is still, I don't believe, big starting quality quarterback anymore, where he's going to win big football games in the NFL. I think he's going to sell off not really sell off in the sunset, but his tenure in Philadelphia is very short. Eagle fans are not happy with his production. The backup quarterback is really the future of this team. But Brian Westbrook, as long as he's statistically, when he scores 2 or more touchdowns in a game, the Eagles have lost, I think, 2 games in the last 2 years when he scores 2 or more touchdowns. So if he gets the ball in Brian Westbrook's hands, anything can happen, and he's, I think, what's going to determine the Eagles' future.
Tim, to the Dolphins now for a second. They are 0-9. Why are they 0-9? What has been this season that's cost them every single game?
Well, I think it's really the way the ball is falling for them. I mean, the ball bounces. It's just bouncing the wrong way. They should have. I thought they played better than the Giants did over in England a couple weeks ago. I thought they should have won that game. I really think that they should have beat Buffalo, except it was a late field goal that got them the loss. It's just. It'll come. It came for the Rams last week. Maybe this week, not next. Maybe in a couple weeks it'll come.
So definitely not. They don't lose every game this season.
No, they're not going to go 0-16. I think it's virtually impossible for a professional team to go winless in this season.
I think you're absolutely right. Now, what do the Dolphins need to do? Is there any changes they need to make to get that first win and to win beyond that?
They don't really have any experience on their team. Their quarterback is a lifelong backup. They lost their starter a couple weeks ago with the concussion out for the season. I think as they get more experience, they'll start to perform better. And they obviously their defense is obviously good. They've held their last 2 opponents at 13-13. So. It's their defense, their offense just needs a little bit more experience.
Now to the Eagles for a second. Last week we saw the Eagles pull a late surge against the Redskins. Is that a sign of that they can still contend, still be a good team in the league, or is that just a one-game sort of thing, one time going to happen?
I think it just proved that Brian Westbrook can still tear apart of NFL defense. That's it. Donovan McNabb did nothing for that win. He just gave the ball to Brian Westbrook, who really, took it to the Redskins defense, and he was the reason why they won. We're going to take a quick break here on This Week in Football. When we come back, the rest of Week 11 plus the WLTS awards. Stay tuned. Welcome back to This Week in Football. Our next game is between the 7-2 Steelers and the 1-8 Jets. Pat, how big of a trap game is this for the Steelers?
It's a huge trap game. The Steelers definitely have to be very careful. We saw them come off a big win last week. Ben Roethlisberger played very, very well, really took over that game and showed well. But they have to be careful against the Jets this week that they don't stumble, they don't get the loss after that big win over Cleveland. The Steelers played a great game over Cleveland. They really played well. When they needed to score, they got the job done. As I said, Ben Roethlisberger had one of his best games all season, and he definitely has to be back in the conversation as one of the better QBs in the league. Now, what the Jets need to do in this game is really just slow down Ben Roethlisberger and that Steeler offense. The Steeler defense is very, very good, so the Jets are going to have trouble scoring, especially with the way the Jets offense is. So the Jets had to play very well on defense, prevent Pittsburgh from scoring, and they could possibly get a win. Entirely unlikely, though. I think the Steelers should have no problem with this game. Ben Roethlisberger is going to come out, have another great game. He's really, the second half of the season, he has taken off and played really, really well. I'm confident that the Steelers are going to make a serious playoff push. I know they're in the AFC, so it's going to be very tough with the Colts and Patriots. The Steelers are going to be right in that mix, though, and I think it's a very scary team going into AFC playoffs because they're going to be hot, especially if they get a win over the Jets this week. So a good game for the Steelers. They have to come out, play well, and get the win. They should steamroll over it, no problem.
How did the Steelers do it? Beat Cleveland. Cleveland was on fire the first half. The second half, the Steelers come out. Their defense totally stops Cleveland's offense, and then their offense really put it to the Cleveland defense.
Oh, the Steelers played well when they had to, and I think that was a big part of that team. They're a real scrappy team. They made plays when they had to. They got down and dirty. When Ben Roethlisberger, he made that 30-yard run, that was a crucial point in the game. Very important at that point in the game, and he took off, he made a play, and everybody on that defense was trying to make a play, trying to make a difference, and it worked out very well for the Steelers. They're not the Patriots, they're not the Colts where they're fluent and they're going to dominate games, but they came out, they made a play when they had to, and they beat the teams they had to. That was a very important win for the Steelers, and I think they're back in business. I think it was a very big win, but they did very well.
Do the Steelers need another piece, or are they a complete football team?
I think they're pretty good. I think their defense is aging a little bit. Their defense isn't as good as it was a couple of years ago, maybe when they went to the Super Bowl, but it's still a very good Steelers team. As I said, they're going to be hot, and they're going to be a good team to watch going into the playoffs.
What's the Jets' answer? Because they're obviously not all there.
I think the Jets just need time. They need to overhaul their roster. They need to get some guys in, do some things in the draft, give some guys some experience, just change things up a little bit, because the Jets really aren't going anywhere this season. They need to get back together. Eric Mangini needs to find out what got them that magical 10-6 year last year, get it back together, and just use time to get back into things and maybe have a better season next year. The final game for this Week 11 is between the 5-4 Redskins and the 8-1 Cowboys. Tim, the Cowboys proved last week that they were the team to beat in the NFC. Can they keep the momentum going through this tough stretch?
Well, it's definitely a tough stretch. 4 or 5, though 4 or 5 of their games are at home, they have to play the Jets on Thanksgiving. Redskins this week, they play the Packers at home the week after Thanksgiving, then they go to Detroit. So they got a tough schedule coming up, but they're definitely capable of doing it. Tony Romo proved last week that he is a star quarterback in Dallas, the first star quarterback since Troy Aikman was. The Cowboys have been trying to find a quarterback to replace Aikman, and I think they've finally done it. Terry Glenn will be coming back within the next couple of weeks to take over, to be the number 2 receiver again, and that would just make Terrell Owens and him and Jason Witten the biggest trio, I think, of receivers in the NFL. Jason Witten, though not as a part of the game as much as he wanted to be last week against the Giants, he still made the catches when he had to. Tony Romo, despite, I thought, not playing his best game of the season, really came to the pressure that was there in Giants Stadium and really put it to the Giants defense. He really showed that he's a better quarterback than Eli Manning and definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So as long as he's on fire, keep getting Terrell Owens in the game early and often, and get Jason Witten apart, get the running game going a little bit for the next 5 at home should not be a problem with victories.
Well, Tim, let's go to the WLTS awards. Who do your awards go to this week?
Well, my awards, my MVP goes to Ben Roethlisberger, a 33-yard rushing touchdown, a 12-yard rushing touchdown, and he led this Steelers team to a victory over Cleveland. They are really on fire. The Jets game, though a trap game, I think they will be able to defeat the Jets this week on the shoulders of Ben Roethlisberger. My LVP for this week is Eli Manning. Eli Manning, 3 delay of games in the second half at home. Delay games should not happen at all in the NFL, let alone at home in a big game. I thought 3 5-yard penalties equals to 15 yards, 15 yards of moving backwards. 2 of them came on the same drive, and their delay of games and procedure penalties are really drive killers, and I thought that was why the Giants lost. Who do your awards go to?
Well, Tim, for my awards, I'm going to go over to the Monday night game between the Seahawks and 49ers. My MVP is going to go to the Seahawks defense. What a game they played. They came out, totally dominated the 49er offense, completely thrashed them, really shut them down completely. They got a shutout in the win, a dominating performance. Some of the best I've seen the Seahawks defense play all season. They were a lot of times overlooked. That defense has a lot of good players and very dangerous, especially in the NFC. As I said before, the Steelers are a dangerous team. The AFC, I think the Seahawks are a very dangerous team in the NFC. They should have no problem winning that division, and that defense in the playoffs is going to be very tough for offenses to overcome. My LVP is going to go to the 49er offense. Yes, the Seahawks defense played really well, but the 49er offense was just absolutely abysmal. They did not play well at all. I did not like the look that they were given. Alex Smith was not protected, constantly getting sacked, constantly getting rushed, had to make not smart plays, threw a couple interceptions. Not a good effort by the 49er offense. I was not impressed. This team really has a lot of promise. They got a very, very good guys on offense. Vernon Davis, Frank Gore, Alex Smith, all high-round draft picks, guys that really should be coming around now, playing a couple years in the league, but it has not shown for the 49ers. They need to get their offense together if they want to improve in the next couple years.
All right, big week of football coming up. Pat, last comments.
Well, the Lions definitely got to look forward to it. Big state playoff game this week against Winslow. The Lions should have no problem coming out and getting a win. I think we're going to repeat as Group 3 state champs this year.
Well, I was going to say this during the Cowboy part, but T.O., I believe, has found a home in Dallas. He's doing a great job getting involved early and often. As long as he stays involved, the Cowboys, despite having 2 games this coming week, today against the Jets, today against the Redskins, Thursday against the Jets, as long as he gets involved, the Cowboys should have no problem winning these next 2 games. It's going to be a fun week of football. So for Pat McGuire, I'm Tim McCrass. Happy Sunday, Lacey Township, and enjoy your games. Good luck to the state playoff Lacey Lions.